Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
If your small business is booming and ready to expand, you might say something like,
"It's happening! Booyah! Yeah!
Crushed it."
But if you need someone who can actually help protect your growing business, just say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And just like that, your State Farm agent can help you get the coverage you need for your new space. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds makes for a wholly amazing, wholly delicious experience that's, well, wholly Hershey's. Everyone should get to experience the satisfying surprise of a whole almond tucked inside creamy Hershey's chocolate. So don't wait your whole life to try Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds. And if you've already had it, then chances are you're already a lifelong fan of this confectionery delight. Find Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds wherever candy is sold.
Hello, everyone. I just want to tell you about a podcast I think you'll enjoy. If you're like me, I'm always on the podcast apps looking for something else scary to add to my feed. And this one is called The Most Terrifying Places in America by the Travel Channel. On the podcast, they visit some of the creepiest locations across the United States. They go to a hotel in New England where guests wake up and they're covered in scratches. My personal favourite is the one where there's a church in the middle of the woods and the security guards have to stay there for the night, and it's really, really creepy. There's so many different places on there. Get yourself a nice coffee or tea, pop it on and enjoy. Listen to The Most Terrifying Places in America wherever you get your podcast.
Did you know Tide has been upgraded to provide an even better clean in cold water? Tide is specifically designed to fight any stain you throw at it, even in cold. Butter? Yep. Chocolate ice cream? Sure thing. Barbecue sauce? Tide's got you covered. You don't need to use warm water. Additionally, Tide Pods let you confidently fight tough stains with new Coldzyme technology. Just remember, if it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to day 3 of 14 days of summer fear. I've got 4 spooky summer stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? My hiking experience from last year. Since I saw someone asking for paranormal observations / experiences in Europe, I felt compelled to share what happened to me last year on a hike. As a disclaimer, I'm hiking a lot alone, and the woods are usually the place where I feel the safest and the most relaxed. This is why this particular hike was so unusual to me. I was already on my way back on a hike near the French border in Germany, and a sign announced a small spring 200 metres to the left that was used as a Christian pilgrimage spot, rebuilt after the grotto in Lourdes. I found a roebuck drinking from the water that ran naturally from a small grotto and sat down there for a minute, since it was a very hot summer day. using the cold water to refresh my neck and cheeks. I didn't drink any. Once I got up to hike the last bit of the track back to my car, something shifted in the woods, and I can only describe it as the instinctive feeling of imminent danger. I heard a sound, like a deep, deep voice talking in a strange language that seemed to come right from the trees. I started to walk faster. Suddenly there were sounds of hasty footsteps all around me, behind me, in the trees above me, like a dozen of small creatures chasing me. I could see movement in between the trees, but never enough to tell what it was. At this point, I was running, almost stumbling over the old gnarled roots. After 5 minutes or so, the small water grotto wasn't visible anymore, and I heard a deep female voice saying something calmly from the left of the track, behind a rock. It sounded like an ancient language, just a few words, and suddenly it stopped. The forest felt normal again. The birds started singing once more, and it was more peaceful. To this day, I have no explanation what happened, only assumptions. Those Christian pilgrimage places were often built on top of old Celto-Germanic places, so maybe some old magic trying to lure me away from the sacred place. Maybe just my imagination. Heatstroke. No idea. The hike was super beautiful, and I'd love to do it again. But only the thought of returning to this particular part of the forest gives me goosebumps. In this story, the small creatures, when they're sort of running everywhere, it reminded me what I imagined was that scene from Labyrinth in the bedroom when they come and get the baby. Toby from Sarah, you know. But it's really spooky. And a different language, I wonder what it was. It really does sound, like the author said, some kind of dark magic keeping them away from a sacred place. And then perhaps something kind of got them to back off and leave the author alone, perhaps. That was my take on it. Are you ready for the second story? Why I don't backpack solo anymore. So this happened last year in Virginia, and is also the reason I never backpack alone anymore. I was taking summer courses at the time, and we ended up with a 3-day weekend in June. So I thought it was a great time to go exploring some of the Virginia wilderness. I did a Google search, found a state park with a trail that looked nice, and let my roommate and family know the trail I was going to be on. When I got close to the park area, I saw a little outdoor shop where people hiking the Appalachian Trail stop. I went in to grab a map of the area, just in case I got lost. As I was talking to the owner, he mentioned a trail that's not well known, that has a pretty cool waterfall and swimming hole. This piqued my interest, so I had him show me on the map. It took me outside the state park, but he said it was a great place to go. I paid for the map and thanked the owner. I texted my roommate and parents about the new trail, and I parked my car and set off on my adventure. I should note that the waterfall was going to be a side trip from my journey. I was planning 3 days, 2 nights. I started on the part of the Appalachian Trail, and it was pretty packed with people, and some of them were really fun to talk to. As expected, as I got further and further from the main trails, I saw less and less people. Around early afternoon, 3 miles from my destination, I noticed it was unnaturally silent. No birds, no bugs, not even wind. and I had a feeling of being watched. I shook it off as me over-analysing the situation. I got to the waterfall, and it wasn't too spectacular, but it was cool to look at. Plus it had a good-sized area to swim in. So naturally I stripped down to my skivvies and took a dip. It was pretty refreshing. As I was getting my clothes back on, I started whistling to myself. It was Chill Bill because it was stuck in my head. That's when I heard something whistle the same tune back. I thought it was a bird copying me, so I went back and forth with it, and it'd repeat whatever I whistled. I thought it was pretty neat. As I was setting up camp, I couldn't shake this feeling that I was being watched again. Like I'd get goosebumps and my hairs would stand up. As night fell, I built a small fire and lit my jet oil to make dinner. As I did this, I became hyper-aware that again, there was no sound, just deafening silence. Some part of my brain was telling me that I'm not safe and need to leave. I ignored it and crawled into my tent with my flashlight and book. I went to sleep without incident. When I woke up the next morning, my sight was trash. My camp stool was nowhere to be found. My bear bag with my food was cut down and the contents were thrown across the site. My first thought was a crafty animal chewed through the rope and got the bag. I looked at the rope and it was cut with something very sharp. Plus none of the food was even touched. I also noticed bare footprints all around my campsite. Keep in mind, I'm at least 6 to 8 miles from a road. As I was looking at the mess, I heard a branch snap off in the distance. I turned to look in that direction. I saw nothing, but I heard that whistling again. My whistle from yesterday, but it was different and sounded more sinister. It made my hair stand on end, and this is when I listened to my instincts to get the hell out. It sounded like it was a little off in the distance, so I packed up my camp as fast as I could. The whistling got closer as I finished stuffing the tent into my bag. I didn't bother with putting anything away properly. The whistling was incessant and sounded like it was coming from all directions. I got fed up with whistling, stood and yelled into the woods, "Shut up!" and "What do you want?" It stopped whistling, and it was quiet for a moment. Then it repeated what I said in my voice. It sounded just like me, but distorted like it came from an old TV. After I heard this, I immediately threw my pack on and ran the direction I came. I heard it moving just behind me, fast, switching between the whistle and my voice. It felt like it was toying with me, not coming too close, but not being too far. Eventually, it sounded like it got further and further away from me. Then it stopped suddenly. When it stopped, I stopped and turned around. I wish I didn't, because I heard the most bone-chilling screech ever coming from right next to me. That's when I started running again. I didn't look, I only ran. Less than half a mile, I ran into a couple that was also backpacking. They saw the look of terror on my face and asked if it was me that screamed and asked if I was okay. I told them about what happened, and they decided not to go down where I came from. We moved to a more populated trail as quickly as we could. As soon as I got back in my car, I drove to one of the park ranger stations and reported what happened. Since the site was off park grounds, they told me it wasn't in their jurisdiction, but they'll send a ranger to investigate. The ranger station's parking lot ran right up into the woods, and when I was getting into my Jeep, I heard the Chill Bill tune coming from the woods just in front of me. I never drove so fast in my life. When I told my roommate why I was back after only one night, all he said was, "Bro, I'm never going camping with you." I really liked the fact that this hiker told the roommate and parents where they were going to be. Amazing. I just think it's so important, isn't it? I have 360 on my phone, and all of my children do, even though 2 of them are grown. Because I feel comfortable because of the PTSD and stuff. I feel comfortable knowing that I can see where they are. I'm like, when Maisie gets home, there she is. She's safe. And I can keep an eye on George and Toby. And it just gives me that bit of peace of mind. I don't think it's intrusive. I just think it's really a wise thing to do in this day and age, and especially because we have the technology. But that sounded like a mimic, didn't it? I love these stories, the way it was whistling and using the voice of the author. How freaky. Get out of there. Are you ready for the 3rd story? Camping in mid-Michigan. So about 3 years ago, I went camping with my girlfriend, now ex, as she had always expressed interest but had never been. The spot we went to is in the Huron National Forest and is my go-to trail/camp spot, as it's hidden deep in the forest and the access to the trails is close and easy for ATVs, etc. My family has been going to this spot for about 6 years, and my friends that introduced me about 10 years or so. We went for a weekend trip, and I'm glad we didn't go any longer. When we got there, everything was going well, except we did notice a group of people that were hanging out next to our campsite. But they were just stargazing and ended up leaving. Then around midnight is when the weird stuff started to happen. At first it sounded like someone was laughing at us, but the laugh never ended, and it got very high-pitched as it kept going. After a while, we both got kind of scared and went into the tent to try and sleep. And that's when the laugh-straight noise moved up higher and then started to circle the campsite. After a while of that happening, it just suddenly stopped and then started again around 3 a.m. When it started again, the fire was going out, so I went out to stoke it with my shotgun in hand and turned on my flashlight to see if maybe I could see any coyotes or something around the campsite. But I didn't see anything or hear any movements below. This went on until 6 a.m. and then stopped. And then finally we were able to get some rest. After we woke up, we checked around the campsite and didn't see anything out of the ordinary, so we packed up. Once we were packed up and good to go, I go to start my vehicle and it's completely dead. That really freaked me out, as I'm always paranoid about leaving things plugged in that kill the battery, and make sure everything was closed properly and unplugged, yet somehow the battery still died. I was able to get a jump from a AAA. That phone call was hard to explain, and the lady who took the call didn't believe me, but at the end we both laughed. After that happened, I told my friend who had shown me the campsite and also has a cabin in the same forest, roughly 25 miles away from the campsite, about what happened, and he got freaked out. He told me about 2 incidents which he had had at the campsite, and one at his cabin. At the campsite, he stated that one night, after we had all returned from trail riding and went to bed, he stayed up to hang out by the fire and have a few drinks. While he was hanging out, he was just looking off into the distance and saw a pair of eyes up in the trees looking directly at him. He described them as bioluminescent eyes, and he flashed his high-powered flashlight at them, but there was nothing there, and as soon as the flashlight turned off, they were looking right back at him. So he packed up and went to bed. He didn't tell us because he didn't want to scare us. At the cabin, he was hanging out with his brother, and they were both chilling by the fire outside, when they both saw a pair of eyes looking at them from a trail that leads into the woods. They stated that at the height the eyes were looking at them, whatever it was had to be at least 7 feet tall. They started shooting at it with their rifles, and the eyes disappeared. But once they were done, they reappeared and were closer. At that point, they both freaked out and got back in the cabin, and they did not leave until daylight. We have no idea what this could have been, but all felt very scared when these events were happening. After we all talked about it, one of the brothers thinks it could be a Wendigo. I don't really know what it could be, but I haven't felt that scared since. Can you imagine getting up after going through all that and then your car's not starting? That is just, no, straight out of a horror film, isn't it? And the friends having experienced something too. The eyes, I really don't know what that was. I mean, it could have been a Wendigo, I have no idea. It sounds like I don't know, maybe a rake or something. I'm not sure. Are you ready for the fourth and final story? I might have left summer camp, but I don't think it ever left me. Well, hello you all. Here's a fun little story that seems to be never ending in my life. I'll preface it with, I used to go to summer camp for 7 years, up to 3 weeks throughout each summer there. I adore this place, and it's truly the reason I am the person I am today. Of course, we had our ghost stories that we told, most of them fake. But there is one real one, and man, I'm getting chills just writing it. There was a girl who died at the camp back in the 70s. Let me say it again, she really did die there. I saw the records as a last night gift. She died of a heart issue during a soccer game. She'd been complaining of headaches all week, and then she suddenly collapsed and died in the basement of the main lodge. It's very tragic. She always wore a yellow raincoat everywhere. That was her thing. And many of the staff members have claimed to see her on the steps of her old cabin crying at night. I forgot about the story and told it simply as a campfire ghost story, in much better detail than this, I can assure you. Anyways, years go by and I head off to college. I made friends with some people who were highly in tune with the paranormal world. I go to college in a completely different state, 7 hours away. But my one friend was able to distinctly describe to me how this little girl looks out of the blue and how the camp looked overall. I'd never told her this story prior to her description. My friend told me this girl had attached herself to me. My assumption is that I keep her memory alive, and I know her name, though I will never speak it. It's been over a year since that night, and ever since I can see her sometimes at night. She'll either be standing in my bathroom, just observing, or standing somewhere, and I never get an overly negative feeling, but it's not positive either. And I've gotten used to it. I moved into a new house this year, and I hadn't seen her in quite a while, but the other night I woke up at 3:37 a.m. I looked over to a chair in my room, and I saw her sitting on the floor crying. I just looked, felt that sadness, and went back to bed. I didn't want to give that attention, and I've been thinking about this ever since. I apologise for the length, just wanted to get this off my chest to other internet strangers who understand.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds makes for a wholly amazing, wholly delicious experience that's, well, wholly Hershey's. Everyone should get to experience the satisfying surprise of a whole almond tucked inside creamy Hershey's chocolate. So don't wait your whole life to try Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds. And if you've already had it, then chances are you're already a lifelong fan of this confectionery delight. Find Hershey's milk chocolate with whole almonds wherever candy is sold.
Now, this is really interesting. And I must say, that's the kind of people I'd want to make friends with if I was at uni. Let's do all the spooky stuff, can we? Very coincidental. So we can only take that it's true that this friend did see that this little girl was attached to the author. But because they seem quite comfortable with it, I guess it's okay. I mean, who am I to judge? Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
If your small business is booming, you might say,
Cha-ching!
but you should say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help your growing business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Like with the road trippers we see here in their natural habitat, the breakfast area at a Comfort Inn. Here's a dad teaching his son how to make waffles, fluffy golden waffles. There's a mom making sure her daughter eats some fruit to avoid the "I'm hungry" from the back seat. And a sibling standoff over the last muffin. This is the cycle of vacation maximizationing in all its glory. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.